You're listening to a Prairie Punk House Companion right here on the Prairie Punk Press Network.
The views expressed by any host or any guest on the Prairie Punk House Companion are the personal views or opinions of the people who express them and do not reflect the views or opinions of anyone else on the show or any company, employer, or any other organization that the individual expressing them has or will affiliate with in the past, present, or future. Hi, everybody. You're listening to a Prairie Punk House Companion. We're on episode 55, which is part 2 of our 2-part interview with Amanda, also known as at Miss Entropy. My name is Neckbone.
Hi, I'm Jerbear. Shameless self-promotion time. I have band t-shirts now. Ooh, look.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah.
Ooh, look. I, on that note, I'm getting a tattoo on March 11th. Today is March 1st, by the way. We are recording this March 1st, and the episode will be released in
like
2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're staggering these out because somebody has to go on a trip with no internet access. So
So
it was really good timing that we got Amanda here for a really long episode, 2-parter. It helps out with
helps out immensely.
Releasing these episodes in a timely fashion.
Because I was wondering how we were going to get an episode in while I was gone. And I'll have access to internet. It's just going to be really bad internet.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have to deal
with the
with
world internet.
Right. Trying to like upload videos and stuff to like YouTube, silly. Which is like when you have bad internet, it can take like 3-4 hours. And then if it fails, then you just have to start over.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, this needs to be scheduled before I depart.
So before we cut in the interview with at Miss Entropy that was previously recorded, we just want to touch base on a couple things that have happened since that has been recorded. The first thing is that we're now in an illegal war with Iran. Our only ally in this kerfuffle is Israel. Our European allies are not supporting us. None of our allies are supporting us. We're the lapdog of Israel, and we are engaged in an illegal war. We've killed the leader of Iran. So there will be decades of infighting for who will rule one of the largest countries in the Middle East. And the stated goal was to balkanize the area so we can divide and exploit their resources, and Israel can work on their Zionist colonial
greater Israel
expansionism project, which is fascism.
Look at the borders. Look at the borders of what greater Israel would be. It's not confined to just the area known as Palestine.
No, and fucking what's his fuck from Arkansas? What's his fucking name? The ambassador to Israel right now.
Mike Huckabee.
Yeah, Mike Huckabee stated on Tucker Carlson that the U.S. supports the Greater Israel Project, that we support Israel taking over all of basically the Middle East, which is biblically the land that Jews were promised by God. And Mike Huckabee is not Jewish. He is a Christian Zionist, and he wants Israel to take that land so Jesus can come back on a winged horse, kill all the Jews, and then take all the Christians to heaven.
Right. Now, Jesus will spare the Jews who convert to Christianity and accept Christ as their Lord. So, so
that's nice of him. That's
nice. Don't get it twisted. Christian Zionists are anti-Semitic.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't give a shit about Jews.
No, they want to bring the literal end of the world.
And be wary of any group who wants any group of people concentrated in one area, even if that area is a country. They want every Jewish
Hmm.
person in the world to be in Israel.
Why? I mean,
Interesting.
I know why Zionists support an ethno state, but why do
Mm,
Christian Zionists support an ethno state? That just seems weird to me.
that does.
Why would they collect a group of people and put them all together in one place?
Mm-hmm.
What could
Mm.
be the reason for that?
I don't know, but it would make me a little nervous if every single person in my ethnic group were concentrated into one place. Um,
I don't see the problem.
yeah.
That is sarcasm, 100% sarcasm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, the more humanist stance is Jews should be safe anywhere they are.
they
Anywhere
don't
they
need
are.
nobody needs their own sanctified little area. There should be a
Hmm.
free movement of all people,
Right.
all
Yeah.
over the world. There
Yes.
should be no borders.
Yep.
Imagine, imagine living in Tennessee. Just
Hmm.
imagine. And you wanted to go to Kentucky for some reason.
Hmm.
But just imagine that you wanted to do
Horse
that.
racing. That you like horse racing.
And then, but then you couldn't
Hmm.
because technically there's state borders, but
Hmm.
now you can't cross those borders.
Yep.
That would suck, right? That would be pretty shitty if you
Hmm.
couldn't freely move somewhere where you wanted
Yeah.
to be. Yeah, yeah. Just, globalize that.
And I think
Free movement of all people.
Americans take it for granted because we do have such a massive country and we do
Mhm.
have relatively free movement even into Canada and Mexico.
Well, not like it used to be, but yeah.
Not like it used to be. Those of us who moved between borders within North America pre 9/11 remember a time where just having a driver's license could get you
Yeah,
across the
you
Canadian
could
and Mexican border,
just drive across the road.
right? Oh, I mean, me and Melissa back in 99, 98,
Hmm.
97.
What, Tijuana?
We walked to Tijuana from San
Yeah.
Diego and we just
Yep.
walked through with our driver's licenses and like partied and then
Yeah.
walked
Oh, I
back.
remember your party.
Yeah. Like, and it was like super easy. And you can do the same
Yep.
thing into Canada. You just go into
Hmm.
Canada, just show them your driver's license and bada bing, bada boom, you're across the border. Yeah. Different world back then.
Yeah.
It felt hopeful and a little more porous and easy to move around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so we are now in an illegal war, and Donald Trump, says that some sacrifice of service members will be needed for this war. But I remind you that not a single Trump is in the military, and not a single one will be. Do you think Barron Trump is going to go serve in the military? Even if he did at all, it would be in a non-deployed National Guard type status, just for
Yeah.
show, like George W. Bush did.
Mm. Yeah, I
It's
mean, I don't even think anybody in his cabinet has
just Pete
members in
Hegseth.
their military. I mean, he doesn't count.
Right, right. Um,
I mean, does he have family members that are in the military currently, or are you just
oh, I
talking
have no
about
idea. Just his prior
his
service, which
prior
was, I mean,
reserves?
yeah, he was a reserve. He was an Army reservist or National Guardsman. I don't remember.
I
They're
don't remember
basically
which.
they're
Yeah,
they serve different functions, but
yeah.
they're both reserve
Mhm.
status forces. Um, and I mean, he technically made it up to the rank of major, but he ended up getting kicked out right after that and never was like any type of platoon commander or anything like that because
Right.
his leaders had no faith in him. Um,
Yeah, because he's a
right,
fucking loser.
right. He was a fuck up and he got kicked
Yeah.
out. I mean, uh, that it's exceedingly difficult to get kicked out of the National Guard. You have to
Right.
be a pretty incredible fuck up to get kicked out. Um,
He did it. He did it, everyone.
he did it. Um, he's the only one I can even think of in the entire cabinet who actually has served. I guess JD Vance was a Marine for a little while,
Mm.
like 3 years, I think. He was an
What
enlisted
was his
Marine.
name when he did that?
It wasn't JD Vance. So I don't know. According
Weird. Hey,
to a lot of things,
what?
it shouldn't even count because he had a different name. Hmm.
Yeah. What? There's. You got to remind me. There's something going on with voting rights and
Mm,
naming
mm.
structures
A little thing in
and not
Kansas.
being no, nationwide, not
Oh, right.
being
Yeah, yeah.
able to vote
Mm-hmm.
without a birth certificate with your name on it that
Yep.
matches
Mm-hmm.
your ID.
Mm-hmm.
Who would that disenfranchise the most? I wonder.
Mm-hmm. JD Vance
Oh,
would say
married women.
himself.
Married women, that's who it would
Absolutely.
affect the
Right.
most.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to take voting rights away from married women.
It's true because when women are born, unless they're marrying Republican men, they don't know who they're going to marry. Um,
Right, yeah.
yeah,
So they don't know what their last name would be
could
as
be
an
if they,
adult
yeah,
married woman.
if they opt to change it to their husband's last name, which is
Uh,
pretty common.
well, and you know who it's the most common with? Republican women.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So, shooting yourself in the foot, I guess.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
anyway, aside from that horrible news, the other piece of really, really, really shit news is Kansas's Senate Bill 244. Without budget talks, they surprised. It was just about IDs, and they surprised added in a bathroom bill.
Hmm.
I believe we discussed it in a previous podcast, but
Yeah.
uh, Governor Kelly vetoed it. Unfortunately, Kansas Republicans have a supermajority in
Hmm.
the House and the Senate and overruled the veto quite easily. The really shitty thing is, people were notified on Wednesday
Hmm.
that the law would go into effect on Thursday,
Yeah.
meaning, and so it invalidated any ID with gender markers that didn't match your sex assigned at birth,
Hmm.
meaning that I think it's about 1,800 people in Kansas had zero time to try and get a new ID to protect themselves from this laws, and overnight their driver's licenses and IDs are invalid. Um, which means if those people can't get a ride to the DMV the next day, uh, they can't drive themselves because it would be
Hmm.
illegal.
Right.
And
Kansas
they
basically
can't,
doesn't have any public transportation.
no, not at
So,
all. And so there's it makes it very difficult for people to get a new ID, which they shouldn't have to do in the first fucking place.
hmm.
It also affects trans children because uh, you are now required to use a government building public restroom of the of the sex you were assigned at birth,
Hmm.
regardless what you identify as.
Right.
So there's $1,000 fine for an individual who violates that law, and there
Hmm.
is a $25,000 fine for the uh, government entity that allows them to use the quote unquote incorrect restroom.
So they're just going to be bathroom monitors standing outside.
Uh, that seems safe to me.
So what
That
if
seems like a great idea.
and don't get me wrong, fuck this guy, but
Buck Angel?
what if Buck Angel,
I knew that's I was going to use that too. Like Buck
he
Angel is a piece of
sucks.
shit.
He sucks,
He sucks,
but
but he is a trans man,
yeah.
meaning he was assigned
Hmm.
female at birth.
Just Google what this dude looks
Google
like
Buck
and tell
Angel
me if you
and
want
tell
him
me you
walking
want
into a
him.
women's bathroom.
Right. Does that make you? I mean, I don't care.
I don't give a
I
shit.
mean, it
Right.
wouldn't fucking matter to me, but the
Right.
people fear mongering about it
Hmm.
probably would
Yeah.
be taken aback by this
Hmm.
big burly man
Hmm.
being forced into using a women's restroom.
Right. Who and
And
he has a beard that puts ours to shame.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's a burly dude.
yeah. So yeah, there's that. There is already the ACLU has already filed a lawsuit
Mm-hmm.
I imagine within the next 4 to 6 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
there will be something stated about it being unconstitutional, or sorry, putting a hold on the law until it can go to court.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's the sense I get.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I hope it doesn't take any longer than that. Um, you know, I know a lot of people who are very scared and hurt by
Mm-hmm.
this law. And it's just fucking terrible.
And it's
And it's
it's only a
the
matter of
most
time.
draconian,
Yeah.
cruel law in the United States at the moment.
And it's only a matter of
Even,
time before it trickles down to private businesses and things like
oh,
that.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I
what happened to
assume there
small
will be
government? I don't know.
protections. Right, yeah. So that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm really angry about it.
Hmm.
I'm trying to organize some good trouble to get into to uh, call out some of
Hmm.
my local state reps.
Hmm.
I'm not going to talk about it now. After it's
Yeah.
done, perhaps I will, but um, nothing that would put me in jail, but
Hmm.
something that could piss some people off.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to organizing some shit to do
Hmm.
um, to make their lives just a fraction as uncomfortable as trans people are right now.
Yep.
Um, but I think that's all the updates
Yeah.
for now.
Yep. And
With that, we'll.
we'll be able we'll figure out what's going by the time this episode comes out. I'm sure there will be some changes to everything we talked about, but
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. I definitely hope things have changed positively. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
Hmm.
All right.
But yeah, let's go into the rest of our interview with at Miss Entropy, and I think we left off going into kind of the similarities between white supremacist movements and tactics that ISIS has used,
I believe so, yeah.
the Islamic State. So yeah, let's jump right into that.
Fruit,
So
basically.
how did you go from uh speaking on ISIS
Hmm.
and Islamic terrorists to um base and Adam Waffen?
Well, I
How did
mean,
how did that
you
happen?
of all people, you guys for sure know that like the fight against white supremacist groups has been a part of my life since childhood, literally,
Hmm.
right? But it was never like a professional like thrust of my career in the same way. Um, until I mean, I always kind of worked on it, but it really exploded as a central focus for me because the Christchurch massacre. Um,
Hmm.
in the fact of the matter that at the time, I don't know if you guys have encountered this, but so ISIS was always very clear in their English propaganda in particular
Hmm.
about why they would attack in the West and why they didn't care, and they hoped that Muslims in the West would be victims also. And they explicitly stated that what they wanted to do was eradicate the gray zone being
Hmm.
the space of coexistence between Muslim and non-Muslim. So as
Right.
far as was concerned and is concerned, if you live outside of ISIS territory, you're not a Muslim, you're not a human being, and it's legitimate to kill you, and they want to incite blowback against you anyway. But so increasingly, it was just really disturbing to me to see what I've called in for years in publications and media interviews symbiotic extremism operating the way that it does. So you'll have like white supremacists and ISIS cheering each other's attacks on because they're pursuing the same endpoints, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, I've got this really awful habit of being pathologically incapable of shutting the fuck up about stuff that matters, even when it's not going to be successful. But so, I started talking a lot about the fact that, there's a reason that Al-Shabaab in Kenya was celebrating Trump's Muslim ban, and for a lot of people, they could not wrap their heads around why that would be, um, and So a lot of it for me was feeling the ethical and moral obligation, right, to use what I've fallen into to try to prevent more harm. So like approaching, random person in the Midwest that knows nothing about this stuff and believes everything they hear on Fox News about the Muslim world and saying, you know, I don't care. I mean, just approaching it from this perspective, right? Where I'd be like, I don't care if you hate all Muslims. That's fine. That's whatever. That's your business. But do it in your house, because what you don't realize is when you're public about that stuff, you're actually helping ISIS without realizing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So approaching it from like the perspective of logic and communication and persuasion is something that really mattered to me. But so I started speaking a lot about Christchurch because there was so much symbiotic, celebration going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And that had the net effect of really pissing off the base and Adam
Mm-hmm.
often that I was
Mm-hmm.
talking about that. So, you know, groups, and I won't get into details, decided to make that a personal problem for me,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I was already professionally talking about it. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just always going to pursue the path of, if I have some shitty luck, um, speaking out about an issue and, it becoming a personal life thing for me, I'm gonna pursue it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really have a separation between stuff that happens in my personal life and ethical obligations in my professional life. I think that you should you should use them in tandem and be very clear about it, where you're
Mm-hmm.
coming from, because I think it would
Well,
solve a lot of problems.
and it hasn't been easy for you. I mean, you've had a lot of professional
Lord,
fallout from
correct. Yeah,
uh
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are professional consequences for working on this stuff in ways that people might be surprised by, probably less now. But what I will say is I was really naive and ignorant about the idea of meritocracy in academia, because
mhm,
for me, um, it had been my golden ticket as like a broke kid with no experience in this world. So it was really shocking to me to see how profoundly conservative academia is. And I don't mean conservative in terms of like GOP alignment. I mean conservative in
right.
terms of resistant to change,
Mhm.
coupled with like the growing corporatization of higher education has resulted in this approach to the profession of higher education as if it's a corporate institution. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
um,
I mean, I
it's
see them
beholden to
definitely trying to protect
shareholders.
their
Yeah.
institution.
So a
Uh,
great example of this is, like I've been headhunted by really elite universities and had positions created for me as somebody that is an expert on non-state armed groups and political violence, but specifically, quote unquote, Islamic terrorists, ISIS, blah, blah, blah.
mhm,
Now, any threat that's come my way from actors like that, the universities will bend over backwards, providing security, etc. But the minute that someone is, when it's not Ahmed coming after you and it's Adam,
mm, mhm,
suddenly that becomes an issue. And,
mhm,
higher education, especially at the elite institutions, does not want to confront what that says about their alleged commitment to humanistic inquiry, etc. Because it's looking in the mirror sucks. I mean,
right.
being
Yeah.
accountable for being embedded in racist and hateful systems like we all are is not fun.
Mhm,
But to me, it's like, I just really wish people would let go of the idea that ignorance is somehow like a negative moral attribute. That just means you don't know something, right? So like,
Yeah.
mhm,
if you don't know shit, you do something stupid, who cares?
mhm.
Address it, move on. Like it's
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. So I think a lot of there's just so much raging insecurity in a lot of these places that I did not anticipate, and
Mhm,
the way that people uh, lashed out and became like punitive for you for doing the very work they brought you to do,
mhm,
and not being willing to, provide protection from the consequences of doing that important work that they wanted you to do is really striking. I'll tell you, several years ago, a former member of a neo-Nazi group that had, it caused me some conflict, reached out to apologize to me after they left the movement. Long, long story about like how I came to trust them on this. But that aside, one of the first things that I told them in our discussions after I had tentatively accepted the apology was honestly, like, I'm as furious as I am at you guys for what you have done to the world and, me personally, whatever. In terms of my own anger at personal experience, I am far angrier at alleged allies
Mm.
who think that they are opposed to fascism, but we're happy in the name of protecting their own careers and whatever to get pissed off at me because talking about neo-Nazis made neo-Nazis mad, and that's my fault apparently. I mean, that's a bad thing, whatever. So to me, that's much more loathsome because I mean, Atomwaffen, you guys believe this shit.
Yeah.
Like you're at least committed to your nonsense ideology in a way that I can work with that, but don't tell me that you're my ally and then actively contribute to, the scourge that you want to jerk off about being superior in fighting. That's
Right.
disgusting.
Right.
So yeah, there are consequences, but also, I mean, I don't know. I get real kamikaze and fatalist about this stuff. 'Cause, so what if there's consequences? Like, to me, even though almost everything in life is like, yes, no, it's complicated, in this
Mm-hmm.
instance, do you believe what you say that you stand for, or do you not? I mean,
Right.
like, I've pissed off
Yeah.
people before. Like, there was a journalist several years ago that wanted to do like a podcast about my life working on this stuff, which was a weird concept to me because I'm an incredibly boring person. So, like, why? But, like, beyond that, she kept telling me, like, oh, you're so brave and thank you for doing this work and like, cool ego stroke that I would love to take. But, like, I made her mad because I had done a thread after that where I was like, I hate that mentality because why is it brave? I mean, there are a lot of populations I mean, who don't have a choice in this because it's survival. I mean, for me,
Right.
it's that, but it's also for all of us. So I don't think that there should be this weird idea of like praise that's attached to this stuff, or like, do you believe what you say you believe in?
Right.
Because if you do, there are consequences. And I mean, to
Mm-hmm.
me, yeah, it's worth getting killed for if someone succeeds at that. I don't want to die, and I'm not actively trying to die, but I mean, it's worth it to me. I know those risks, and I'm willing to take them. And yeah, there's professional risks too, but
Yeah.
I want to die the way that I lived. So whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
that's really what it comes down to for me.
and I know we've talked about this on the podcast a bunch of times before too. Of like, yeah, I also would rather like I'd rather just see somebody just straight up just be mask off neo-Nazi because then I can spot them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
and
they
I will
are.
say this
Like,
is something about the Trump era that it's disgusting. I hate it, but one positive thing about it, and I hate using that adjective, but it is
yeah.
accurate, is that more and more people are being forced to reckon with the fact that, yeah, this is who we are,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
okay? It's who we've been, and that
It's
doesn't
what we were
condemn the whole
founded
like
on.
idea of the American project, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want us to be who we say we are.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean I hate just the United States, quite the opposite, right? Like, I got in this fight with somebody the other day because I was talking about, have you guys ever seen the book Hitler's American Model?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's a book about basically the Third Reich's comparative international study of racist oppressive institutions. And,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm
Hitler
familiar
had,
with the concept.
yeah,
I mean, they got their ideas from the eugenicist movement here in the
Yeah.
well,
States.
partially. Okay. I mean, they looked at a lot of South African movements. They looked at the United States as well, and they selectively adapted things.
Mm.
But in many cases, the Nazis actually saw American policies as too radical, which is not something that's comfortable to discuss. And I
Right.
understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason that we have to, in my opinion. And I had said this, and it really pissed someone off because they took that to mean that I was saying I didn't think the Nazis were that bad or that the Holocaust wasn't radical. And I
Right.
was like, hold on, because that reaction is really, really something that
Missing
we
the
all need to
point.
like hone in
Yeah.
on, right? Like if you react like that, think about it. Um, it, what about, I mean, half of my ancestors killed and raped and colonized the other half, right? Indigenous
Hmm.
and settler.
Mhm.
So we haven't really fully reckoned with our origins if that is the reaction, you know.
I mean,
And
we
there,
can't even talk about reparations in this country without
no.
people losing their shit,
Well,
you
here's
know.
another thing, and this is something that's my perpetual axe to grind. The phrase off the reservation and the
Hmm.
fact that everyone uses this all across the political spectrum with absolutely no issues is it's just, to me, so emblematic of the problem, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically,
Hmm.
that's saying, red subhuman population, get back in your cage,
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
know? And until we confront that aspect of our history, you're never ever going to be. This is, to me, again, like connected to the idea of the final solution being a process of genocidal
Yep.
policies. We didn't recognize the Trump coming thing by and large because we haven't reckoned with where we've been. And if we had looked hard in the face at how we were founded, we would have been, say, like Germans in terms of
Right.
not the AFD, but looking at the states and going, "Holy shit, pump the
Yeah.
brakes," right? And so, I think that one way to approach the backlash against SJWs and whatever, all that crap, is to, say, listen, shit libs, um, this is why that matters, because the awareness of those aspects is how you correct the course, right, going forward.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's infuriating, to me.
Well, and
And I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think, a lot of people don't think about the fact that like even during World War II, even as World War II was happening, even after US
Hmm.
involvement in World War II, we were still sterilizing black people in the South.
And
Hmm.
indigenous women
Like,
in the 1970s.
yeah.
Yeah.
And not only
Hmm.
that, but like, you want to talk about the Holocaust in American policy? We turned away ships of refugees,
Yeah.
of
Hmm.
Jews coming to the States, and sent them to the death camps,
Yeah.
Yep.
you know? So I really annoy people when I always harp on like shit is complex, and you have
Hmm.
to have nuance and honest approaches to this stuff because nothing else will work. But
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah,
the
it's
only
I mean,
infuriating.
reason we got,
just made up the moral high ground that we stand on as a country. Like
well,
it's built our moral high ground is built on the backs of indigenous people and slaves.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
So is that
we
really a moral high ground?
we didn't get
And
No.
involved in World
let's
War
be
II
honest though.
even because of some moral superiority. We got involved because Japan attacked Pearl Harbor and they were allied with the Nazis.
Right.
And so
Precisely. Like
Germany,
look at
in solidarity with
Afghanistan,
Japan,
you
declared
know?
war on us. So we got dragged into it. We didn't
Hmm.
go
Yeah.
willingly to go
I mean,
fight
it's
fascism.
look at the whole argument of like, going after the Taliban for harboring bin Laden, et cetera. And that's a whole set of worms that like
Hmm.
parts I agree with, parts I don't. But the fact of the matter is, I remember having a student like revolt when I taught this in class that, Ronald Reagan referred to the Taliban, right, as like our founding fathers. And the
Hmm.
student said I was lying, and so I pulled
Nope.
up the Reagan library and showed it to him in class, like where this is
Hmm.
discussed. And he still couldn't believe that it wasn't like, some commie lie.
Go
Um,
watch
I
the
mean,
movie Spies Like Us.
yeah.
There's
it's
straight up a scene where they ally
Yep.
with the Taliban to
Yep.
get into Russia.
I
So,
mean, it's absurd to me because both sides of the political spectrum approach issues like this with just such bullshit artificial like not artificial rather sorry superficial analysis, right? Like,
mhm,
no, the CIA did not found Al Qaeda. That's fucking nonsense.
mhm,
However, geopolitics being complicated and the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and Reagan being smart enough tactician who's evil and also the origin of so much of the shit that we see now.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Reagan being absolutely willing to embrace the godless communists versus, religious fundamentalist movements and pour weapons into that. Like, people need
mhm,
to know more about blowback, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's
Well, I mean,
huge.
you got fucking all these conservatives pissed off about fucking immigration here. Why do you think people are immigrating here? Because we destroyed their fucking
Especially from
country.
Yeah,
Central
it's
America.
Exactly.
what we did
We're
there.
the
We are
reason they're
here because
immigrating
you
here.
were
Yeah.
there. I love that phrase. It captures everything. We are here because you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
We should have
I,
taken a page out of Britain's book because that's what they've been going through even longer
Mhm.
than us. So the British
well,
Empire, and
oh,
we didn't take a lesson from that at all.
well, neither did they.
No, they
Right.
Um,
didn't.
man,
They
I'm
didn't learn
sorry.
their
I'm
own
like
lesson.
awful and criticize everybody for this stuff,
Right.
but
I'm sure Nigel Farage will probably be the next prime minister. So
how much do you love the fact that his last name is Arab? Faraj is like an Arabic name and just makes me insane.
Uh-huh.
Zero
I got a
self-awareness.
quick question completely out of left field, completely off topic of everything we've been talking about. What the fuck is with Michael Tracy and denying Epstein shit?
Wait, I have no idea about this.
Oh, you
yeah, this is
don't?
new to me too. I don't know about
Oh,
Oh
this.
wait,
fuck.
Michael
Okay.
Tracy. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Michael
Wait,
Tracy and I have beef going back a long time.
he's like constantly running cover for fucking Epstein about how it's like not as bad as it seems and
There's so much of that though. And where's it coming
and
from? The
and that
contrarian former left
yeah.
identified field. It's
I mean,
nonsense. Like
he got his
IED,
big break from fucking the Young Turks, so I don't put a lot of
Oh,
stock
I
in what he has
mean,
to say,
yeah.
but um, it's still just super fucking wild to me how he's just like, Ghislaine Maxwell only trafficked children to Jeffrey Epstein. He didn't share
They're
them with
doing the
anyone else.
Reddit
Or
pedophilia, not pedophilia
Oh
meme
right,
my
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
God.
time.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre to me. I
I think it's
mean,
the other
what
facet
a
of like
hill to
the
fucking die
edge
on.
lord culture. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah,
like the contrarian, you
Right.
know,
I mean,
like
even big mainstream people like Megyn Kelly are saying like 14's not that bad. What the
it's
fuck
barely
are you
legal.
talking about?
Megyn
No,
Barely
Kelly.
barely legal
illegal?
is
Barely
18,
illegal? I
19.
don't know.
14's
Megyn
just
Kelly named
illegal.
her child Thatcher, and that
Yeah.
is all
Oh,
you need to know
gross.
about
Yeah.
her, in my opinion.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Now, since
disgusting.
I'm throwing names out, Matthew Heimbach.
Oh, what about Matthew Heimbach? Because believe me, I have thoughts.
Uh, uh, is he still in prison?
No, he's
Okay.
I think that
Okay.
no, he hasn't been
Cool.
in prison for quite some time.
Okay. I
I
kind of lost
also I
track of
just
him after he fucked his stepmom or whatever and
you know what I call that? The night of the wrong wives. Yeah, it's a
That's the
let me
porn
tell you some
adaptation.
fun stories. And that's actually a chronicle, like a feature of the Neo-Nazi Nonsense Chronicles. Actually, the
hmm
Night of the Wrong Wives is like one of those segments that I did. But so Heimbach and Jeff Scoop. And how closely did you guys follow Sines versus Kessler, the civil suit over Unite the Right in Charlottesville?
Not very.
It's really interesting. Like the I can send you a link. I'm so tired right now. I can't remember the name of the organization. So sorry to you guys, but there's
No
all
worries.
the transcripts are online from it. But anyway, you bring up a really interesting subject because Heimbach and I mean they had all of the different heads of these organizations on, as defendants in the
hmm
civil litigation, but two of them at the time, like Heimbach and Jeff Scoop, were allegedly out of the movement. And, the latter in particular has been really active in marketing himself as a former and as an expert on de-radicalization, etc.
Who's that?
But
Sorry, I missed.
he was the NSM leader. I mean, everybody that I know calls him Jeff
What's the
Shep.
name though?
Well, Scoop is how you pronounce it, but everybody that I know as a deliberate act of disrespect in the former community calls him Jeff Shep.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay, that guy.
yeah, but
Gotcha.
anyway, like he has been platformed by a lot of anti-extremist organizations uncritically in ways
hmm
that are infuriating to me, and I will say that in particular because there's a lot of skepticism for good reason about trusting self-identified former fascists, and I
hmm
understand that. However, that being said, uh, the actually repentant former fascists are some of the best allies that we have,
hmm
and you will know them by their deeds, the formers that you should trust are the ones that are not actively seeking the spotlight. And in
Hmm.
particular, like a lot of them either not promoting book deals. Anybody that has been in the movement and left and is sincere, first and foremost, like the first step in the whole process is acknowledging and accepting the idea that no one owes you fucking forgiveness.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, they're the ones that you should consider eventually trusting, not immediately, are the ones that um, do not bristle at the fact that they are not accepted immediately.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
they expect that, right? But my approach to this is be cautious, be skeptical, and what you need to do is watch over time to see engagement in restorative justice through repeated
Hmm.
action over time. And that, honestly, in a really shocking way, has some of the best people I know that are just really, really intimately close, in my life, are people that actively tried to kill me before,
Hmm.
um, because man, empathy is really hard for your enemy, right? But like,
Hmm.
there's something that is so beneficial to both parties when you can't heal from the shit on your own, right? For me, engaging and forgiving somebody that I don't understand the lure of a neo-Nazi movement, but then again, I wasn't in a situation where that could have been a thing for me. And
Right.
working on shit like ISIS, etc., has taught me a lot about, it's a trite to a lot of people, but for the grace of God go I. You know,
Hmm.
nobody wants to look in the mirror and admit the fact that all of us are capable of immense violence.
Hmm.
And no one on the face of the earth can say there's not something or someone I love so much that I would not give up my life for it or
Hmm.
possibly take a life. We're all
Hmm.
capable of that. And I think that the moment that you pretend that you are not, or that you pretend you're above this, is the moment that you're most susceptible to actually becoming a quote unquote monster. Because the
Hmm.
scariest thing about extremism that no one ever wants to talk about is that, yeah, we can say all day it's a hate movement, and that's how I see this shit on a personal level, but this is marketed as love,
Yeah.
Hmm.
you know,
It's
and
community, and
it is, but
people
it's
seeking
also
community will
exactly, and
turn
it's
to.
also like empowering. Like you are
Hmm.
doing something good. You are defending people. You're fighting the good fight. No one
Hmm.
sees themselves as a monster. And
Right.
Yeah.
it's so hard to remember that, but it's crucial to the whole like project. Sorry, I got derailed because I went on that rant, but this is to say, like with the former question, um, I've learned a lot from former neo-Nazis about this kind of stuff. And I will say, for a long time, I had such a much easier time uh, working with disengaged ISIS members because I looked at like, structural conditions in Iraq where, yeah, the American military like totally fucked you and, whatever.
Yeah.
So to me, I fell into this trap of like, well, that was a real grievance versus like white genocide is bullshit, right? While I
Right.
still believe that, and neither justifies the violent genocidal behavior. Um, it's one thing to personally believe that this shit is not real on the one hand, because it doesn't matter. It's real to the people that are accepting as real and as our marketing is real. So you have to treat it as such in your approach.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you're not going to do shit to fight it. And
Right.
Yeah.
it's so hard.
Hmm.
But anyway, with the former thing, so like in Charlottesville, Jeff kept refusing to turn over his phone to the prosecution, or yeah, in that case. And he had said all this sketchy shit about like I lost it fell in the toilet, etc. I mean, basically my point here is your actions are not in alignment with someone who is genuinely committed to restorative justice for a lifelong career actively committing harm. Because if
Right.
you were going to be committed to that, your personal accountability in a trial would not matter to you. You don't minimize that. And
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think that one thing no one ever recognizes enough is the most passionate critics of him are former neo-Nazis who spotted the shit a mile away and were
Hmm.
sounding the alarm when like overly naive liberals were super willing to throw open the doors, because a lot of these grifters will say, oh, but Antifa's on an equal footing with neo-Nazis, like the both sides thing, because
Right. Yeah.
there's a market for that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And, he's totally,
The
people
liberals eat that
still
shit up.
trust him. I do
Yeah.
not.
Hmm.
Matt Heimbach, on the other hand, he also pretended to no longer be a fascist for a while. And,
Yes.
I've caught a lot of flack for openly, shredding both of them over
Hmm.
and over again publicly, but during Charlottesville, or during the civil suit rather, Steins versus Kessler,
Hmm.
Heimbach was basically like, yeah, fuck it. I'm a neo-Nazi again,
Yeah.
you know, haha, I
Isn't
was
Again.
joking.
isn't
No,
Richard
like,
Spencer pretending to not be fascist anymore? Is that what he's doing
um,
right now?
not to the same extent. Richard Spencer is just such a slimier sort of case in terms of self-promotion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
like, I honestly see a lot of this phenomenon with him
Hmm.
as third positionism and his
Hmm.
obsessive pathological fixation with rebranding
Yeah.
Hmm.
and marketing his bullshit another way. Heimbach and Jeff Scoop are different because they have both actively tried to engage in de-radicalization spaces. There was an institute, like an organization called Light After Light, which was very problematic, and they had a podcast called God, what was it? It was something like not, it wasn't the right way. That's the Mike or the Penovich, like,
Hmm.
Holocaust denier pod. That's not what I'm thinking of. Oh, take a walk on the right side was
Ugh.
the name.
Jesus
The
God.
name of this
Gross.
allegedly derad podcast. And it's funny because I was actually, like, I had heard that Heimbach was on it and that it was mad problematic, and I listened to it with two friends that were former fascists and neo-Nazis, and two friends that were other, like, lifelong never fascists, whatever. And we all
Hmm.
listened to it together, and it was so upsetting because all of us could tell Heimbach was in no way, shape, or form not absolutely committed. And there are tells,
Hmm.
right? Like, they were talking about Pierce and the Turner Diaries, and Matt Heimbach referred to him not as William Luther Pierce, Dr. Pierce. And
Mm.
he was talking about Butler as not, Butler, but Reverend Butler. And
Oh
you could
yeah.
hear the
Hmm.
admiration in the
Yeah.
way that he engaged with material. And so the people that were the most sensitive and on full alert for that were the former neo Nazis that found that, like, I hate this word, especially now, but so deeply triggering
Hmm.
Yeah.
because, it, like, one of the people that I was listening with he had to leave the room because he was someone that had engaged in, like, violent felony,
Hmm.
criminal incarceration charges, all of that before. And he said, this is really disturbing to me because I haven't felt the inclination to violence in 20 years. But this makes me want to get violent and then I need to leave,
Hmm. Yeah.
And those are the voices to listen to. And the problem is that they're not as easy to promote, right? Because they don't
Right.
give a shit about promoting themselves.
Right.
Um, but I mean, I think this is another issue with a lot of people that see themselves on the left. I get the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi. I totally understand that. However, the only thing better is a former neo-Nazi that knows this
Right.
shit, that is an ally, because nobody will be more passionately committed to it, and for the right reasons than them. And the fact of the matter is, nobody owes them forgiveness. That's fucking absolutely true, especially people that have been targeted, whether
Hmm.
for personal vendettas or, professional roles or whatever, or like just marginalized classes. However,
Hmm.
it's a very uncomfortable reality that if you do not incentivize leaving the movement,
Hmm.
you are actively making people stay.
Hmm.
And, like, so one thing that I don't normally talk about, and I'm fine with talking about it here, but, like, I do a lot of work with, like, neo Nazis that want to leave will
Hmm.
contact me for help.
Hmm.
You know, Obviously, I don't go into it blind or stupid in terms of, like, security, etc. But it's because they're having that opening where they can't talk to their comrades about this shit.
Right.
Um, and it's uncomfortable as hell to say this because I can't stand fascism. But like
Hmm.
because they know that like in the one-on-one space that I will listen, and it's not a debate. It's not trying to own someone or whatever. It's actively seeing them as a human and
Hmm.
hoping that they're sincere and providing the support when they are. And it sucks and it's really frustrating, whatever, but like it's necessary work. But I remember telling one guy in particular something I learned from working with former child soldiers with ISIS.
Hmm.
Like, the thing is, one of the reasons that child soldiers have such an extraordinarily high recidivism rate is that, when you force a child to engage in an act of moral harm before the age of 25 and the frontal lobe finishes developing, they are too young to fully understand agency. But what they do understand is that the world sees them as fucking monsters
Hmm.
and that they are beyond redemption and that they've done something unforgivable. And
Hmm.
it's not a perfect one-to-one, but like it's very similar to a lot of shit with
Yeah, there
any
are
extremist
definitely
organization.
parallels.
Yeah, but like if you don't give someone a chance to enter society again, you are forcing them to remain where they are. And that
Yeah.
is horrifying. You don't stand for what you think you stand for. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends with them,
Hmm.
but the once a fascist, always a fascist, man, it's like a one step from there to like your own counter genocidal program. It's just idiotic.
Hmm.
So I have
I
a huge problem with that.
I've always taken the stance that people that can do that work are uh incredibly more valuable to the anti-fascist movement than I am as somebody who is
I think
vocally.
anyone can do that. Anyone can
Yeah.
do that. Because if I can
Um,
do it, and
if
I'm
I
a
mean, if
dipshit,
I guess
anyone
if I was
can.
given the opportunity, I'm sure I could, but I'm not one to seek that out.
Oh, I've
If
never
a
sought it out, to be very
if a
clear.
if a fascist wanted to talk to me and was like, "Listen, I think I fucked up." I
Hmm.
like I don't know. I mean, again, you don't know how you're going to react to a situation until you're in it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah,
If
I
someone
mean,
said
that's
I regret what I've done, would you listen to them?
yeah,
Would you
yeah, I
even
Yeah.
would.
entertain it?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Then
Sure. I
why
mean,
would you say that?
everyone
Why?
should be
But hold on,
allowed to
pause,
change
pause,
and grow.
pause. Because like I also want you to recognize in yourself, like don't act like people that like those of us that do this shit are somehow exceptional because we're not. Every single person is capable of doing that work. Like literally, I feel like the scum of the earth 99.9% of the time. And if I can do that, I
Hmm.
guarantee you better people than me who are, you know, far more numerous can
Mm,
do that. You know?
yeah.
It doesn't mean it's
Um,
fun or whatever, but like you're perfectly capable. And I think the more that we recognize the worst about ourselves and the best potential in
mhm.
ourselves, the more everyday people would be engaged in this shit. And it's
Yeah.
really important because,
I mean,
like,
Mhm.
you
that's a really
having
good
a
point.
conversation with a
Yeah.
fascist that reaches out is so much more credible than like somebody at the FBI who says,
Hmm.
"I work in de-radicalization." Like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
it has a lot of parallels to shit like cultural diplomacy through the Fulbright program, right?
Hmm.
Person to person diplomacy that is not a state sponsored initiative that,
Right.
that
Yeah.
means you toe the line. It's so much more effective.
So, one of the things you said about no better anti-fascist than a former fascist, or I mean, summarizing what you were
Uh-huh.
saying, um, this is going to be a silly comparison, but
Never.
I have way more respect for a former drug addict who is straight edge than some fucking dumb kid who heard about straight edge and was like, I'm going to be straight edge. And I mean, it's obviously not the same, but it's like
Why not? There's a lot of
there's
commonalities, you know?
parallels there for like someone who's actually had experience in the movement and know
Hmm.
inside what it's like and how to they know how to combat it better than somebody
Yeah, they're more
who's been on the
credible.
outside the whole time.
Point blank, they are more credible. And to
Mhm.
give you another bizarre ISIS comparison, so are you guys familiar with Shamima Begum?
I'm not
Is
sure,
Shamima
but
Begum?
don't know.
Okay, so I did a lot of work on her case. She was a 15-year-old British girl that went to Syria,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
she had her citizenship stripped. And the problem with
Hmm.
that in the UK, I mean, well, in addition to the fact that it is a violation of international law to render someone stateless for
Hmm.
activity that is not, actively violent. Like she essentially was doing the same shit that Bashar al-Assad's wife was, which is to say, speaking publicly about Syria from her perspective in
Hmm.
support of, you know, violent actual actors. But so obviously, when you watch ISIS saw the heads off of enough of your loved ones, it doesn't really take a lot for you to not like them. But
Right.
so me talking about her does not mean I support ISIS, and a lot of people somehow can't understand that. Why I'm
Hmm.
bringing her up though is that you know that decision really upset me, and my students had asked me about it, like, "Hey, isn't that awesome? Like, what are your thoughts?" And I said, I think it was a really, really dumb decision. I think it's counterproductive. I think it's going to backfire immensely, and it has consequences for, identitarian fascist movements the world over because it's going to start everywhere else, And my
Hmm.
students were shocked. So I let them take a vote on the next class topic. And I said, if you want me to do a whole class devoted to why I say this, we can do that, but it's not going to be fun for you. It's not going to be fun for me. It's going to be really traumatic and ugly and harsh and not fun. And I'm not going to be the stand-up comic, And they, yeah, unanimously, all of my classes picked it. So I walked them through the propaganda that she was consuming
Hmm.
that is a different propaganda material set entirely from the shit that like the non-Muslim Westerner is consuming. Like she
Hmm.
was seeing shit that talked about utopia and
Hmm.
freedom from persecution for her religion and race, right? We're seeing the heinously violent shit, and there's a reason for that. And I would get too far off topic if I like went down that road. But so in this lecture that I gave them, I walked him through all this stuff, and at the very end, I was like, I don't think that Shamima Begum should be like running around the streets in London. That's not what I'm saying, because she needs reflection. She needs a lot of uh, therapy, um,
Hmm.
and all these other things. But the thing is, like, the problem with stripping her citizenship beyond the fact that, her parents were Bangladeshi, but she'd never been there, didn't have citizenship, etc., and she was a child at the time.
Hmm.
It's just so dangerous. There's like a whole set of things, but she would be like the most credible voice on why ISIS is bad. The United States government is not credible. And I say that for a specific set of reasons that some are, which are obvious and some not so much. But so the State Department had this atrocious public diplomacy countering extremism idea. I can send you like a policy piece I wrote about it, but it was called Think Again, Turn Away. And they had all these social media accounts, and literally in their profile was a troll doll. Okay. The whole premise of this bullshit was to troll extremists on social media and turn them away from radicalization that way, which is so dumb. But more ridiculous than that. Like it was literally like Stephen Colbert at the height of his parody of the right wing with like
Hmm.
screaming eagle gif type shit. In
Hmm.
any case, one of the tweets that they posted that has never left my memory was the Think Again, Turn Away talking about a suicide bomber in Baghdad under ISIS. And the tweet said, another foreigner terrorizing the local population because the guy was Dutch and had come join ISIS. And I was like, like, I don't think irony is a strong enough word when the American government is talking about foreigners terrorizing, invading, and occupying Iraqis. Like,
Right.
if you think that that is going to help stop people from joining ISIS, like, you're
Yeah.
just showing your ass even more. But like
Perpetuating it.
someone like NATO,
Yeah.
that is a voice that can explain to you how that shit works, you know?
Hmm.
So I think she's a pretty good parallel for uh yeah, you've got to hold people accountable, but you also have to, like, people mistake empathy and sympathy and understanding for the same word, and they are not. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
care what Elon Musk says about suicidal empathy and that nonsense. The fact of the matter is, empathy is one of the best strategic weapons that anyone has in a conflict. Because
Absolutely.
if you
Hmm.
cannot understand where your enemy is coming from, you will literally not see them coming. And underestimating an opponent is the worst thing that you can do. So, like, the whole idea that, MAG is stupid or ISIS is stupid and they're all barbarians. I mean, sure, you might believe that, but
It misses the
then why the
point.
fuck didn't you stop them if you're so
Yeah.
smart? You know,
Right.
like, and empathy is just understanding what someone, uh, the path that someone would be set down. It doesn't mean co-signing, because
Right. For
I
sure.
have never and would never co-sign ISIS in my life,
Right.
or like literally a neo-Nazi group that tried to kill me.
Right.
But um,
Speaking of
recognizing how imperative that is the only way you can fight it.
Hmm.
mhm.
Sorry.
Just it's funny you brought up Elon Musk after talking about Rhodesia because he's all on
Yeah.
board for that shit.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, his his father and
Oh,
grandfather's trajectory, yeah?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
for
leaving
sure.
Hmm.
Canada for
Yep.
Hmm.
apartheid.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, Elon Musk is just,
Uh, Thinking back to it, because I know we've talked about Adam Waffen
Mhm.
already. But it reminded me of the story, and I looked it up really quickly. Um, from 2017, apparently. Do you
Mhm.
remember the case of Devin Arthurs?
Yes, I do, actually,
Yeah.
because like Devin Arthur's he's an interesting one. Um,
Hmm.
are you referring specifically to the double murder in the house he shared
Yes.
with Brandon? Yeah.
So yes, the fact that
What in particular?
the fact that he was a neo-Nazi, presumably still is, um, but also converted to Islam.
Well,
Uh,
pause. There's a lot of that back and forth. Like David
Hmm.
Myatt and O9A have a lot
mhm.
of, like, jihadi slash, which is insane on one hand because, like, in Islamic theology, like, the idea of being racist is anathema to the whole concept. Like, whatever,
Right.
that's a whole
Yeah.
religious studies path I'm not going to go down. But the thing with Devin Arthurs, though, is he is deeply mentally ill.
Hmm.
Um, and not enough coverage is focused on that, which doesn't, negate any of the harm that he's done, but
Hmm.
it is really critical to know that kind of fact about him. I will say I know a couple ex-Adam Waffen members that are actually now devout Muslims
Hmm.
and internally committed to Islam, like even when they were in, but weren't open about it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, interesting stuff. There's like a
Hmm.
lot of back and forth. Like all these Telegram fanboys, like neo Nazis regularly dropping like white jihad and mashallah. I think there's another interesting thing here. I'm sorry, like I love to rant. I mean, I know you can tell, but like so much of global understanding of these movements would be helped if people had a basic chronology. Like, one thing that infuriates me as somebody that's worked on quote unquote terrorism, and I hate that term, political violence is
Hmm.
much more accurate. But like,
Right.
Hmm.
when people talk about, like, oh, lone wolves, etc., and like using the internet, and this is something that Nazis took from jihadis, absolutely not. Like, BBS, pre-internet, pre-World Wide Web days, was like using the internet to propagate propaganda was actually a neo-Nazi white supremacist invention. It started with George Dietz and Tom Metzger and Louis
Hmm.
Beam of the Klan in the early '80s. And it wouldn't be until, the early 90s where you had Al Qaeda or Hezbollah or any of these groups using like protected internet sites. Similarly, like Louis Beam revived a concept of leaderless resistance that was like beat Al Qaeda by decades. And there's so much pervasive like assumption, even among people that are supposed to be experts in this shit, that like there's a unidirection of like borrowing of tactics and techniques that obviously like the bad shit had to start with the brown people, you know. Surely like the white people could never have come up with like evil, horrible shit on their own.
Yeah.
But man, like, and I'll tell you too, you know, these groups don't only read one another's material and work, they engage enemy shit all the time. And this is a big frustration of mine. Like, you know, who, like how the Overton window has been pushed as an open concept now on the right, has been actively co-opting ideas from the left, like the academic left, the Frankfurt School, for example, and Gramscian cultural hegemony. And, you know, I think the far right in many ways has been much more successful in terms of actually engaging with enemy texts and ideas and you know, weaponizing them than the left has been. Like the left has historically not been very good at, I mean, historically this country, like looking at the methods of the other side and understanding from them. Like there's so much more of a tendency to just dismiss them as stupid, right? Like not take them seriously. But like if you read jihadi treatises on, you know, like military strategy, which is unfortunately something I read all the time, you know, they talk about like Marx and Lenin and Mao and like swimming with the fishes, and you know, they cite them by name in Arabic treatises, right? And then conversely, you've got like Tom Metzger all throughout his career posting like jihadi philosophy on his sites in English. So, you know, it's a mistake to ever think of these things as not in active dialogue with one another. And it would help so
Well,
much if we did.
I learned from you back in the day that the base named themselves that after
Oh,
ISIS.
yes. No, after Al Qaeda.
Or, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like a huge meme. It's so funny because, like, also I love the mansplainers on X in particular because, like, for years, anytime I say anything about the base, there will be like 15 dudes that watched American History X one time in my replies going, "Did you know the base means Al Qaeda in English?" Anyway, yeah. It's I also just, man, Nazaro is a personal issue for me that I wish more people understood because, like, you know, he has he's so bizarre. He had a security firm with an active um, insurance, like the insurance certification was still active in 2020, and he has posted letters of like thank you letters from DHS to him. And he
Wow.
got really pissed off because I made fun of him on Twitter, and so he went on this rant on Telegram and called me QAnon for pointing out that, like, you know, guess what, Ronaldo, aka Norman Spear, um, Roman Wolf, you know, if you don't want people to call you a Fed, then why are you posting your thank you letters for literally being a Fed? Um, whatever. Also, fun fact about him, this is a neo-Nazi nonsense story. He also is a fan of posting these weird playlists, and he loves Taylor Swift. And one of his most famous insane rants was about how, you know, it's too bad Bin Laden was dead because he would totally take him in a dance off. Yeah, he's
Interesting.
amazing.
I mean,
He's like
there's a
the least charismatic, like,
weird.
leader.
There's a weird like conspiracy theory on like the far right about how Taylor Swift is white supremacist or
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
somehow
yeah, yeah.
aligned with Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
it tracks that he would have that on his playlist, I suppose.
Interesting.
And honestly, I just think it's because he has shitty taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I mean, now, oh, sorry, Taylor Swift fans, I don't care. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
she is the like a quiet Aryan goddess or whatever. But
Right.
Hmm.
I'm more concerned with like you wish Bin Laden was still alive so you could do the terrorist leader dance off. Like,
Yeah, what
Right.
the fuck? That's weird. That's
Does he think that
wild
that's a thing
behavior.
that happens
uh,
and he just hasn't been
um,
invited yet?
well, I mean, he's too busy chilling in St. Petersburg, where
Yeah.
he lives. So I had this horrifying conversation when I was trying to explain like why domestic terrorism versus international terrorism in understanding a group like the base is not helpful. I had said, well, their leader is in Russia. And they were like,
Hmm.
who, what? And I was like, holy God. So I had to like pull up a bunch of media. You know, neo-Nazi movements here are not a domestic exclusive thing. Like they've
Hmm.
been transnational for 50 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's massively
Oh,
frustrating.
fuck.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. And seriously, that's like a dead sincere offer. Like if I can
Hmm.
do anything to help amplify and like build the press, you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
down for
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
We do have one last question
Yeah.
before uh we
The
say
mandatory,
goodnight. The
mandatory
mandatory,
Uh-oh.
question.
yeah. Uh there are three kinds of punk rockers in the world. There are filth punks, there are blatz punks,
hmm
and there are posers. Are
hmm
you familiar with the shit split?
Yeah, but like I've never actually been cool enough to be like an actual punk. I just ran around
Uh-huh.
with you guys. Like I'm just
Yeah,
boring, So
yeah.
like I'm not even cool enough to be a poser, you know?
Uh-huh.
But you guys remember, okay, what was his name? The dude that was like notorious for having his mom's silkscreen patches on his tidy whities. Ashley would remember
What?
him. I can't remember who the hell it was.
I don't know.
But
That
he was like a
sounds
crust punk back in the day.
That's fascinating.
I'm
I want
Yeah,
to
not
know who that
sure.
is now.
Yeah, I want to know who it is too. I mean,
yeah.
I I initially thought you were gonna say something weird about Jason Dallas because yeah, he's a weird guy.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Entropy, for being with us. Do you have
Thank
anything you
you
want
for
to
having me.
plug before you go?
Um, Common sense and patience, and education and shit that is important that is not convenient in social media attention spans that are shorter than mine. No, I mean, just, if you give a shit about this stuff or you, for some reason, are interested in my ramblings on it, I am at Ms. Entropy on pretty much all platforms. So you can find me on X or Blue Sky, and my Substack is at Ms. Entropy. So, yeah,
Awesome.
if you care about my nonsense opinions, feel
Yeah.
free to
Hell
reach
yeah.
out.
Yep. We'll be reaching out.
Well,
You'll be
thanks
back on the
again.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, for
This was a
sure.
blast, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Had a
Thank you
great
so
time.
much for
Thank
hanging
you.
out.
Thank you and talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Bye.
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 Thanks again for listening, everybody. Jer Bear, do you want to go ahead and thank our patrons?
Yeah, thanks, Alec and Adam and Chris and Johnny and Mr. Power. You fucking rule. Uh, Thanks a lot at Miss Entropy for spending so much time with us and offering some much needed insights into the world of white supremacy and Islamic terrorism doesn't really affect us in America so
Yeah.
much, but it's still important to learn about,
Right.
obviously, because, groups like the base
Hmm.
um, take that, take those tools and methods and use them here. So, it
Right.
does affect us, just
And
not in the direct way that
right.
people might
And it
fearmonger about.
and like Atmos Entropy said, like these two groups applaud each other and take notes from each other. Um,
Well, yeah,
so
yep.
yeah.
Well, and,
So
I think it's pretty interesting how, you know, uh, Nick Fuentes, everybody's favorite Catboy Nazi,
mhm.
really loves what Israel and the Zionists are doing, because they're creating their own ethno-state, and
Yeah.
that's what he wants here.
Yep.
So, it's not just people using the tools and weapons that Islamic terrorists do, but also what Zionists do
Yeah.
to further their
Absolutely.
own ethno-state
They're all three
goals.
of those groups are just copying each other's notes at this
Yeah.
point. Like, I mean, it's all part of the same. I mean, it's all part of the same way of thinking, of keeping
Yeah, yeah.
keeping us all separated,
Same
keeping the world
methods.
separated, keeping there's a place for everybody and everybody in their place type of thinking, which is just ludicrous. So yeah,
Yeah. Terrible.
go read Pale Blue Dot, Carl Sagan,
Yep,
and to me that puts it into perspective. So
for sure.
yeah, if I had a religion, it would be Saganism. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. And thanks at Miss Entropy for being our guest. Don't forget to go to www.prairiepunkpress.com, where you can find all of our links right there. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.